We live to love each other.
Thanks for joining us on Sunrise. With the increase in the prices of electricity, petrol, food and other amenities, many consumers are still struggling to adopt the culture of saving. According to research, at least 62% of South Africans don't save. As part of Savings Month, we have invited financial expert Donna McCallum. She's also known as the Fairy Godmother. She's going to give us some tips on saving. And remember, you at home can participate in this discussion. Give us a call, 011-5379-333 or 9345. Donna, thanks for joining us. We're chatting about this. 6 years ago or so, you had this epiphany whilst in Argentina and you decided to help people realize their dreams.
Absolutely. So I'm a fairy godmother and I help individuals and also companies get clear on their dreams and visions and goals, and I help and support them to make that happen. And so I do a series of talks and workshops and I run training programs, and as Cindy said, my first book came out about 2 years ago, The Fairy Godmother's Guide to Getting What You Want. And I think the reason why I'm sitting here with you today is because one of the things that I teach people about is how to get empowered around money.
Yeah.
Because if you're wanting to live your dream life, you've got to get empowered.
Well, you can't do it without money, and I'm so glad you mentioned the word empowering, because a lot of people are intimidated when it comes to the idea of saving, the idea of handling their finances effectively. Give us some of the tips that you cover in terms of what to do in order to save.
Well, one of the reasons why people are so stressed out about money is because we've never actually been taught how to handle money. So if you think about it, at schools you're not taught how to handle money. When you're growing up, you don't learn from friends.
Yeah.
You certainly don't necessarily learn from parents. Often we hear from our parents the negative things about money, like there's not enough, or money doesn't grow on trees.
Or on your back, on my back.
Yeah, exactly. Or it takes a huge amount of hard work to make money.
Yes.
All of these negative beliefs that we're brought up with, and then we go into our first jobs and we get really excited and we start earning money. But unfortunately,
we're
Stacey,
not equipped to handle.
We're not equipped to handle it, but we also live in this consumer society where we're being advertised to, excuse me, and marketed non-stop about these incredible products that we can buy. And then we're being marketed to about the credit that we can have, whether it's credit cards or store cards, etc. So people are really stressed out about money and don't even know the first place to start saving.
So what is the first place to start saving then?
The first thing to saving is to understand that you just need to start saving a small amount each month. So there's a bit of a paradox to saving. A lot of people think, I don't have the money at the end of the month, so how can I save? And this is one of the things that I teach in my Money Magic course, and the reason why I call it Money Magic is because if you actually start saving, the amazing thing is that you almost get more money sent to you. I can't even explain it, but of the hundreds of people that have done my program, I've seen it time and time again. So the tip number one for saving is it doesn't matter how much you start saving. It could be 50 Rand, 500 Rand, 5,000 Rand. It doesn't matter on the amount, but it's important to do it and to make it into a habit. So every month you're doing it into a habit. The other thing is it's important to open up your own separate savings account. It's not good enough to have it in your current account and then you can use it any time and you sort of think that it's your savings. Open up a separate account. It might be a 32-day notice account, which I recommend because then you can't rob your savings. Or a money market account.
You can't touch it, you can't undo anything that you've done before.
Well, it takes 32 days to undo it, right? So, or a money market account. And then the other tip that I have is do an automated payment for your savings. So I'm sure, Stacey, you have insurance payments or car payments or those kind of things that come off your account every month, right? And you don't even feel them. You don't even know that they disappear off your account.
Well, sometimes I do.
Sometimes you do. But mostly you don't even you don't have to think about them coming off your account. And it should be the same with your savings. So what you should do is you should literally do an automated payment over to that other account so that you don't have to think about it. Because if you have to physically transfer the money, you might start thinking about all the other things that you've got to spend that money on.
And you'll talk yourself out of doing it. It's about applying the same amount of discipline in paying your debts to saving.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things that I go through in my Money Magic program is really about the relationship that we have with money. And money is an energy, just like everything else in life is an energy. And the way you treat money is the way money treats you. So if you appreciate money, money will appreciate.
Yes, I understand that. Donna, we've got a caller on the line, actually. I'm not too sure of our caller's name. I believe the call is from Cape Town. Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, I didn't get your name.
My name is Kirsten.
Kirsten from Cape Town. What's your question for our fairy godmother this morning?
I just entered now. I don't know if someone has already asked her. I just opened the TV now. Many people want to save money, but the problem is bank charges. How do you save? Because bank charges sometimes they are so exorbitant that it discourages people, and you often have money lying around in your house without knowing what to do, because if the bank charge is extra, it's discouraging, and people are willing to save.
Yes.
Because there are emergency days where maybe, for example, you are working in Cape Town and then there's a funeral back home. You want to go in. You want to use that money that is lying around. But just to put it in the bank, it's not nice. And at home also it's not safe because anything can happen.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the problem that I find when it comes to saving. The bank charges are so exorbitant.
Yes, thanks, Kirsten, for that question. In fact, I was going to ask you that. You make such a pertinent point there. Bank charges eating to my savings. Is that an excuse, or is it something that we really just have to deal with? Or are there any tips that you can give us regarding dealing with bank charges and various savings accounts?
The first thing, Stacey, is that we live in South Africa, and you've got to accept that our bank charges are the highest in the world.
Okay.
They are. Our banks absolutely take huge amounts of money from us. But it's just the cost of living in this country. Okay. That's the way it is. So one can't use it as an excuse. Oh, the bank takes lots of money. And in fact, banks don't take money off savings accounts. If you're putting money into a savings account, you should be earning some type of interest, and you should actually be making money off that account. So it's all very good. And bank charges you need to put into your budget, but you still need to save.
Well, we have another caller on the line. We have Jennifer. Jennifer, thanks for joining us. What's your question this morning?
How are you, Stacey?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yes. Stacey, I would like to find out if is there anything that can be done. For instance, we have these orphans who are young adults or beneficiaries left with money inherited from their deceased parents. And then at the end of the day, you find them misusing the money, abusing alcohol, doing all these crazy things. So can't they find the lady there? Can't she probably find something like develop a network or a system where they can be able to identify those people and help them to misuse money? Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for your call. I mean, you mentioned this, that the younger you started saving, the better.
Absolutely.
And often a lot of our youth aren't educated in terms of how they can save and the various steps to take. I don't know if the Fairy Godmother has any programs out there that are helping the communities?
Yeah, I don't have any programs yet that are necessarily going into the youth in terms of money. I've got some of my Map Your Dream Career projects that go into teens and really getting them clear on their dreams and goals and their careers. But one of the projects that I'm a trustee of is something called the Lonely Road Foundation, and it deals with orphans and vulnerable children and looking after them. But as Jennifer said, yeah, I think it's a very important thing to actually set up trusts and to actually teach them about managing their money.
So with regards to Jennifer's question, in the case of orphans and deceased parents, are they... perhaps if one of our viewers is watching and they're in a similar situation, what would be the first steps in terms of handling those estates or whatever finances have been left to them?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult thing. It's not only just the estates that are being left to them, it's also their benefits and their grants that are coming from the government. And one of the big things is to really look at some of the foundations and some of the NGOs that are in those areas and helping people. So a great foundation is something called the Family Centre. So it's based here in Johannesburg, and I would contact them immediately, the Family Centre, and just find out from them what resources they have to help you with managing your
Well,
estate.
some people are saying, well, I'd love to save, but I'm in so much debt and I don't know how to get out of this debt. What are your tips from moving from the one situation? Can you do it simultaneously and getting into that place where you're saving on a regular basis?
Yeah. So the first thing is stop getting into debt. Yes, cut up the credit card. So, the first way out of debt is to not get into it.
Okay.
So most people are in it, but don't get yourself further into debt. So cut up those credit cards, cut up those store cards, stop getting yourself into debt.
Although the argument there is I need to develop a credit record, I need to develop some sort of track record. I mean, I've met so many people, they want to purchase something, they want to open up a store account, and they say, well, no, we can't give you this loan, or we can't give you a bond, or whatever the situation is, because you've paid for cash all your life. You don't have this credit record. So at the same time, does that not counter what you're saying?
If someone's in debt, then they've already got the credit record. that, right?
True.
So cut up those credit cards,
Yeah.
cut up those store cards. And the next thing is write down all your debt.
Okay.
Most people are like ostriches with their head in the sand. They don't open up their bills at the end of the month. They don't want to know. They pretend that it's not happening.
So it's about being bold in this action as well.
It's about writing it down and seeing what it is. And
Yeah.
often, when in my Money Magic program, when people actually do that,
Yeah.
they see that it's not as bad as they actually thought it was. Most people have this big thing in their head like, it's terrible, and they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
The next thing is find out what interest rates you're paying on each of these accounts.
Okay.
And start paying off the one with the highest interest rate.
Okay.
And the last...
Sorry, Donna, just before you go to your next step, I believe we have a caller on the line, George. George, thanks for joining us this morning. You have a question for our fairy godmother.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Well, thanks. By the way, I just don't have any. I don't have any question.
Okay.
By the way, I have a statement regarding a customer that had in connection with charges.
Okay.
Yes. That comment is that that customer can just go into any bank and they could just ask for any different pricing options. You understand?
Yes.
It's not to say that the bank charges are much more than what we expected.
Yes. George, do you work for a bank or do you have any knowledge in this regard? Or is
No,
it just
I work-
something that you've
actually,
done?
I work for a bank, so there's something that customers do not actually understand that we
Yes.
can explain to them that they do not ask us
Yes.
as consultants of the bank.
Thank you so much for that point, George. I mean, he makes a very important point there. It's happened to me. I've gone to my bank saying, I'm paying ridiculously high bank charges. Surely there must be another pricing option. Only to find out I do everything online and everything electronically, and I'm paying far less. So it's also about educating yourself and taking the initiative as well.
And also knowing what the different options are between banks. So
Yes.
it's within your bank, and then also if you're going to go and open up another account, find out what other banks are doing as well.
Did you complete your tips of getting out of debt for us?
No, the last one is commit to paying off more than the minimum.
Okay.
Okay, so not just the minimum amount that's on the bank, on the statement that you have to pay, commit to paying more than that. In fact, I mean, I'll give you a little working.
Okay.
If you had 6,600 rands worth of debt at 16% on your store card, it would take you, if you just paid the minimum every month, it would take you 30 years to pay it off, and you would
Wow.
pay over 13,000 rand in interest.
Wow.
Okay. Now, if you just doubled the minimum amount, you would pay it off in 2 years and 7 months and pay only 1,300 rand worth of interest.
What a change. What a difference.
So just double up.
So
the
pay that
minimum
extra.
amounts.
Put
Pay
in that
that
extra.
extra.
Donna, unfortunately, we've run out of time. I'm so disappointed because there's so much I'm sure we could ask you about in terms of managing your finances and saving. We've been chatting to Donna McCallum, who is she's a financial expert. She's also known as the Fairy Godmother. We see her wings and her onesie, and she's brought some over fairy dust as well. Thank you. For more information, you can visit her website, www.fairygodmother.co.za, or you can give her a call on 084 207 0202. Thanks for joining us. We're back just after the short ad break.